Today we're going to be comparing the Bugaboo Bee to the EasyWalker June. Both of these fall into an interesting mid-level category between a travel stroller that is small enough to fold up and put on a plane and something that is large enough for real everyday use. Both of these could be used in terms of everyday use, but you wouldn't want to really go off-road at all. What instead they are trying to do is to make a small stroller, in both cases, that has a lot of comfort functions. So the seats are both reversible on both of these strollers, fully reclinable. They have extendable canopies, decent harnesses, and there's a lot of accessories for both of these strollers as well. There are, however, a lot of differences. The Bugaboo Bee, for one thing, we're on our 5th generation of Bugaboo Bee, so there is definitely a strong market for it, and it is sort of its own type of design. There's a bit more plastic, it is a bit lighter, folds down a little bit smaller. With this stroller, you really want to know what you're doing before you adjust any of the mechanisms. It is possible to break things simply from not knowing the weight limitations or the proper way to use the mechanisms beforehand, simply because there is a lot of plastic. That being said, even though there is a lot of plastic, the mechanisms are made very precisely and put together very well. Connection points tend to stay strong, and the stroller tends to have a good degree of longevity, provided that you follow the specifications. The EasyWalker June, by contrast, is made a bit larger, a little bit heavier. The connection points are not quite as strong. And I do notice over time that with the Bugaboo June, it tends to get a bit more rattly, and the relatively complex mechanisms become a little bit harder to use as you lose symmetry over time. They did go for a larger wheel design, but this is kind of ruined by the fact that the connection point between the front wheels and the forks is a bit weak, causing them to wobble over time. And the number one problem with this being that it's very hard once you have weight in it to get it up over curbs and over roots. We have another video on the June, you can check that out, but it's hard to find a good way to use this when you're going over obstacles. Now, both of these have relatively complex mechanisms that makes them a little bit less user-friendly in general. It's a bit of a chore to swap the seat from the back position to the front position, as in the child facing you or facing away, and it is a multi-stage process in order to put these strollers down. Both of them are also going to require a certain degree of maintenance in order to keep them functioning properly, in particular lubrication, either with silicone spray, in particular in relation to the Bee, or with something like WD-40 for the metal mechanisms and so on, maybe more so with the June. In terms of price, the Bugaboo Bee clocks in at about $200 more than the June, but the June already is around $500. I would definitely actually recommend spending the extra $200 if you're in the market for a stroller of this type and get the Bugaboo Bee, simply because for that extra $200 you get a tried and tested model that really is a lot more stable. However, that being said, there are a couple other models that fulfill a lot of the same functionality on the market, and these ought to be looked at as well. If you're looking to buy something, the stock Scoot is decent for something if you want a reversible seat. If you're looking for something smaller, then of course you can go for Zen. If you don't mind something a little larger without a reversible seat, my number one smaller travel type stroller would be something like the Baby Jogger City Mini GT. You'll get a lot more stability and longevity out of that, and a little bit of off-road capability. But again, between these two, I would definitely prefer the Bugaboo Bee. I would recommend, though, if you're in the market for something like this, that you think quite a lot about how you intend to use the stroller, because it might not be necessary to go for either one of these strollers. This is something between, as I said, a travel stroller. It's not going to fold down small enough for you to get it in cabin baggage. It will have to be shipped, so you're looking for a smaller travel stroller, or you're looking for something because you have a small car and you really only use a stroller in like indoor malls, places with very flat ground. If those sort of characteristics don't match your needs for a stroller, then I would definitely look at other things on the market, and we have a lot of other videos talking about other types of stroller, so you can find something that fits your needs more specifically. In any case, we hope that this video has been interesting. If it has been, we ask you to subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. Thank you.